Well, everybody's back at camp. The Bears players, the veterans are in there today. They go through their first workout tomorrow. And yet we've got Jerry Jones taking shots at Micah Parsons and then J.J. Watt tweeting, blasting Jerry Jones. Does he or Trey Hendrickson, who's not in camp, do either guy get moved?
I don't think either of them are getting traded, no. I think the Trey Hendrickson thing has, again, continued to be unpredictable. I think there was a point maybe a couple of days ago where it looked like something was going to get done. Then things went the wrong way. So we'll see where that goes. I think that's sort of like a day-to-day thing right now. And the Micah thing, I think, takes a little longer. I don't know what the benefit is of Jerry talking the way that he's talked about this, but it's been the way he's talked about it really through the whole thing, through the whole offseason. He called out or didn't call out, said he'd never heard of Micah's agent, who's one of the most powerful agents in all of football, in March. And so it's sort of been the tone to this whole thing, and I think again, to me, it's like a really that one I think is going to take a little while and maybe looks a little bit like CD and Dak did last year, where it gets done right before the beginning of the season.
Albert, yeah, there's some coaches missing with the Detroit Lions, but I still think that they're the class of the NFC North. What have you been able to glean so far from a Lions camp that you've seen?
Well, you still see the talent, for sure. It's still a really, really good roster, and you still have, to me, so many players that you still put in the ascending category. Like, what's Jamison Williams going to be this year? Now he's, playing for a contract. Amon-Ra St. Brown is still relatively young. Gibbs, it's just, you go across the roster, Aiden Hutchinson coming back, Brian Branch on defense. So many of these guys are still third, fourth, fifth, sixth year guys that are on the way up, So I don't know. I look at a lot of the makeup of the team, and it still comes off to me as a team that should be getting better from a roster standpoint. Now, dealing with the coaching losses, that's for sure something you got to work through. And so there's pressure on John Morton on offense and Kelvin Shepard on defense to make up for what's being lost with Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn getting head coaching jobs. But I think Dan Campbell at the very least had a couple of years to prepare for that. This is again a really good, well-rounded team that I think everyone should expect to be back in the playoffs this year.
So my question for you, Shay was just reading us the list of the 25 best or ranked in order best teams in this century. And I do not believe that the 17-0 Patriots, who lost the Super Bowl to a 9-7 Giants team, belongs anywhere near the top of that list. He disagrees with me. I've read players who said it doesn't mean a thing without the ring. If you don't get a ring, you're not talked about as one of the great teams. Where would you rank that team?
I'd have to take a look at it. I actually think I don't know how many people feel this way. I think the team they had 3 years before was probably better, and I'm not just saying that because they won it all, but that team had Tom Brady coming to his own, right? This wasn't Tom Brady game manager anymore. This is Tom becoming full-fledged Tom Brady in year 5. Mm-hmm. They had Corey Dillon rushing for 1,600 yards, 1,700 yards, whatever it was. Deion Branch, David Gibbons at receiver, an offensive line that was at that point pretty established, and then a defense that was full of studs. You had Richard Seymour in his prime. You had Mike Vrabel. You had Teddy Bruschi. You had Rodney Harrison. I just, that team, the 04 team, to me was the one where it was that was a physically imposing, tough team that you did not want to play. The 07 Patriots were explosive as hell. There's no question about it, and it was unbelievable watching them over the first 12 weeks of the season. But if you really pay attention to some of the games later in the year, a game they should have lost to the Ravens, the game with the Giants, in Week 17, and then the way they kind of stumbled in the AFC title game against the Chargers. Not to say that, look, there's nothing to sneeze at, right? Like, getting to 18-0 is getting to 18-0. But, look, I think, if you take that team in a vacuum where it was in December and January when it really counts, I don't think they were as good as the team that was there 3 years ago. So that's sort of the way I look at it. I still don't – that the team 3 years before that had 2 losses. The 2007 team had 1, and – so if they weren't even the best of that run, then I don't know how far down the list you put them. I wouldn't put them that far down the list. They were really, really impressive, and I was lucky to be around that team. But, I think just because of that 16-0 thing, we tend to look at them a certain way. And because of how that season started, we look at them a certain way. And I think a lot of people ignore what the team looked like at the end of the year.
Albert, a great column. Again, go to SI.com, go to Albert Breer's column in the NFL section. The piece entitled, "The 2000 NFL Season Was a Strange Year Wedged Between Two Eras." It's so interesting, 25 years later, to look back at what you wrote, Albert, as far as how the NFL need to be saved from a television standpoint. Who could be able to keep it entertaining from a booth standpoint? It wasn't about the field. Can Dennis Miller be the difference in people watching and not watching the NFL? And then just looking at who the champion was. It's funny, before we had you on, we just talked about Trent Dilfer and that Ravens team, how strong that defense was. And it's like, Dilfer was the quarterback to the dormant at the Four Seasons. But at the same time, that was a complete team, the 2000 Ravens. So it's funny to look back at how the NFL seemingly for some people is in the mud based from a television standpoint, and then the quality of football to what it is right now.
Obviously it was before Brady became a starter in New England. He was in the league, but he wasn't the starter yet. And it was, Peyton Manning at a very early stage. Aaron Rodgers wasn't around yet. Drew Brees wasn't in the NFL yet. And guys like Marino and Young and Aikman and Kelly were just out of the league, So you were sort of in this weird void, this weird quarterbacking void. And I don't think the NFL's been in that position since, since I think it's been pretty seamless. You have ups and downs at the position, but I think, you've had, elite players at the position and guys who've, driven their teams to the Super Bowl at that position consistently since then. So it was a strange year from that standpoint. Certainly, the Monday Night Football thing was interesting because, they were really worried about the health of Monday Night Football. And if you want to think about the long-range impact of that, 6 years later, Monday Night Football was no longer the big game. It became Sunday Night Football. When NBC got back involved, they moved the marquee game to Sunday night rather than Monday night, where it had always been, just from a scheduling standpoint and all of that. It didn't even put in the fact that that was when the XFL was coming into play too. You know what I mean? So it was just it was a weird time, and I would say there were some growing pains the NFL was going through then. Obviously, they made it through it, but. It's interesting to look back for sure. And, even the Super Bowl itself, think about this, guys. There were 5 touchdowns in that Super Bowl, 2 on offense, 2 on special teams, 1 on defense. And the 2 teams didn't even combine for 400 yards. Think about that.
Wow.
That would never happen now.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have your schedule planned out yet? Do you start making your camp tour?
Yeah, I'll be there Friday. So Thursday night I'll be at the Lincolnshire on Thursday night, I believe.
Oh wow. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Bears roster was ranked by ESPN yesterday 15th best in the NFL. Is that fair?
Without looking at it, that sounds about right. Yeah. I think they've got a good roster. They obviously, haven't been to the playoffs in a while. So there's a limit on how high you can rank them. But that sounds about right to me.
Hey, man, we'll hopefully get to catch up with you. We're at camp on Friday, so we'll see you there.
Oh, awesome. That's
so maybe
great.
we
All
can
right,
do
we'll
a little
sit-down
with you at camp because we're broadcasting live.
For sure. We'll definitely do that.
All right, we'll see you Friday.
All right, later.